guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for July 7th, 2019. So, it was a week. Let me just put it that way. It's kind of a weird week because we had the 4th of July off, so I hope everybody had a great 4th. We did. My cats did not freak out. It was actually kind of weird. I stayed up even though I had to go to work really early the next morning because I was afraid they would like freak out. And they didn't. They just played and ran around and didn't do much. Like the big booms were okay for them this year. I don't think we had quite as many. And they had a big display not too far from here so we can hear that. But it wasn't, we didn't have anything super close. So I guess it all worked out. Anyway, so we made it through that. So, anyway, I hope you guys had a good, if you had the holiday off, that's great. I had to go back to work on Friday, so that was kind of killer. But it was really boring and I caught up on all my stuff, so I guess that was a good thing. But this next coming week, I'm going to be super tired because the first 3 days I'm still covering for one of the managers that is out, and I still have to be there early, and I probably won't get out of there until late. And then my mom is coming to stay on Wednesday night to do stuff with my grandmother, so I have to clean my house, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. Anyway, we'll make it through. Anyway, so that was a quick update, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the books that I read this week, the stuff I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the coming week. So last week I was rereading the Stormy Weather Cajun werewolf series. So oh, this one was not set up to show the picture. So I continued on from after, because I read the first one, I believe, on Saturday. So Sunday I read the second one, Bitten in the Bayou. And I read, what was the other one I read? I read, oh, Seduced by a Cajun werewolf. These are just cute. I didn't, you know, they're pretty much novellas or pretty short stories. They're between, well, the main ones that I'm showing you now, these are mostly between about 60 pages to 120. I can't remember if the Seduced by, one of them was 120, and the rest of them are all about 60, 80. But I also read, oh, see, I thought all these were ready to go. Mated to a Cajun werewolf. So these of course are paranormal, and they are just fun, like they're just fun reads, I have to say. My favorite of the 5 is Stranded with a Cajun werewolf, because this has my favorite trope of two people who are paranormal, but they can't tell each other that they are because one's kind of under a spell. And she's on the run because her dad wants her to marry this vampire, and she doesn't want to. So she runs off, and you know, they get stuck in a cabin, and I think in New Hampshire, I think. Anyway, it's cute. I just love it. This is my favorite one of the 5. And then there's an extra bonus little 31 page A Cajun Werewolf Christmas, which has all the couples come together, because all the men are brothers or cousins. So there's 3 brothers and then 2 of their cousins. And they're werewolves. They live a long time. They're I don't know. They're cute. I don't know how to explain it. I bought these, as I said, they're some of my first purchases for Kindle when I got my Kindle for Christmas in 2010. And those are and I just had a craving to reread them. So I reread them for the summer romance book bingo. I know they're rereads, but I'm going to count them because to me that's me reading some romance, and they're just fun, and I really enjoy them. Oh, did I tell you it was by Selena Blake? Sorry, anyway. So that's not, I mean, again, it's something I used to read a lot more of. I'm trying to get back into, as I said, I'm trying to read more of the paranormal romances and urban fantasies that I have a whole lot of series of that I need to start. But I like to go back and read a lot of things. And this is one of the series I've been thinking about for a while because I love that Stranded with the Cajun werewolf. That's my favorite one. They're still not perfect. Like, don't expect perfection. They are short, so there's a couple little leaps of faith you have to kind of take, and some of the action's a little too fast for me. Like, I would rather it drawn out, but I still love the characters. I remembered them from when I read them a while ago, but much better on the reread is remembering now why I liked it. So I read all those on Sunday. That was my reading on Sunday. So I did finish my audiobook about, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, of Underground by Haruki Murakami, translated by, it's two guys, I can't remember their names, Alfred Birnbaum and Philip Gabriel. So this is one of the oldest books on my shelf unread, so I decided to, I bought the audiobook earlier, I think it was earlier this year or last year. It must have been, it might have been last year I bought it on one of the Kindle deals. Like the, not the Kindle deals, the Audible, like 2-for-1. It was probably one of those at one point. Because I don't think I used a full credit on this one. I think it was one of the ones I had 2-for-1 or something. Anyway, so, or dropped in price or something. Anyway, I bought it thinking, well, maybe it would be better to listen to it. I read this far, about 60 pages, the first time when I first got this back in like 2001, 2002. And I just never completed it. So now I've got this done, which is great. It's one of my oldest books on my shelf, and it was on my list to get rid of, to get through. So this is the Tokyo Gas Attack and the Japanese Psyche. Haruki Murakami, of course, is a novelist, and he decided to interview people who were affected by the gas attack in 1995. And it was really good. As I said, this really reminds me of how Slavanja Alekovic's books on Chernobyl and her World War II ones from the Soviet perspective are really well done. The same way they're kind of interview-wise, but this one's much more, looks like an interview. These were taken from magazine articles that he did a year and a half to, I think, 3 years after the attack. So I did like it that the first part was all the people who are victims or relatives of the victims, and we got to hear a lot of different stories, which I really enjoyed. I got a lot out of hearing what actually happened and how it affected them, which was really hard hitting that way. And then the last third was actual people who were members of the cult that was responsible for the sarin attack. So I really enjoyed this overall, as in an experience where I got to hear their stories. Again, I like I don't want to keep saying enjoy, but I meant I got more out of the beginning part where it was the actual victims and their stories and how they're moving on and stuff. I would really love an addendum of how they are now this many years later. But, you know, so I bought this book when it came out in paperback, so it's, it wasn't super long after it happened. The audiobook is fantastic for this because the voices do change, because there's the main narrator who is Murakami's voice, and then there's others. Then every time, so sometimes he is interviewing, you hear his questions, but not very often. Again, that's why I think it's like Alekovic's way of kind of distant, like pulling the interviewer out and just letting the eyewitness talk. And so I think that was really well done in this one as well. So anyway, I really think it was a good book on that event. Yeah, I'm as I said, it's one of my oldest books on my shelf, and one of the Murakami's I had not read. So I'm really glad I finally picked that up and listened to that. So then I'm in the middle of 3 books that I'm really currently reading. So I did join the Hunchback in Notre-Dame read-along with Mara at Books Like Whoa. She's doing a read-along for this for it was July 3rd through the 14th. So I've read 4. They're like there's like 11 books or sections in this, so she split it up to a book a day. And some sections are smaller than others, so it's nice, but it's only like 25 to 45 pages. But I have a couple really big ones coming up that are more like 60 pages a day. So again, this is a 1831 Victor Hugo novel that is more on, well, I guess so far, it's more on his commentary of Paris and Notre-Dame in the 15th century. I think the story takes place in 1482, And it follows, Quasimodo and Claude, is it Frollo? Yeah, Frollo, and Esmeralda, and a poet, which I didn't know was in the story, Gringori. And so far I'm not that far. I'm about I'm 158 pages in. You think the story hasn't progressed so much yet. There's been a lot of commentary on Paris and the cathedral and stuff, but we're getting back into the more into that. So the story. So so far, I mean, again, I didn't know anything about this. Yes, I watched the Disney cartoon like years ago, but I really I never read this book or never had any, I always think it was always on that list of, hey, I'd like to read that book, just like Les Mis is on that. But reading this, I'm more amped now to pick up Les Mis, even though I know that there's going to be chapters where I'll be bored out of my mind with some of the descriptions. They're really well done. Don't get me wrong. Like and this translation is by, oh crap, what is his name? John Sorok, and he really good. I think the translation is really well done. I mean, at least I'm not having any trouble with it. But I don't know. As I said, he has this little. It's it's really funny as it reminds me of Moby Dick in the way that there were chapters where I just get this whole lecture on thing. And it's kind of like that. I don't know if that's that time period or what, but. Actually, I don't remember what year Moby Dick came out. Anyway, but anyway, overall, I'm really enjoying this so far. As I said, I'm 4 books in. I'm going to read book 5 today out of the 11. So I'll be done by next Sunday. I think I should be. Actually, it might finish on the Saturday, and then I think she has a live show on Sunday, so we'll see if I can make that or not. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad I bought this and picked it up, even though I had Les Mis on my shelf as one of the oldest books on my shelf. I will get to that hopefully maybe next year if I really enjoy this. And I am so far. I think I'm still going to pick that book up no matter what, but I am really enjoying this. It wasn't like a planned thing until right before. So anyway. And then I'm listening on audio for Jane Austen July. I'm listening to Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Oh, I think the audio is narrated by Rosamund Pike. Is that how her name goes? I don't remember, but it's one of the Audible ones that I got. I don't know. I got it on sale one day. So I've Sense and Sensibility is one of those ones. I've read this book twice before. I don't think I've read it more than twice. So this is my 3rd time through it at least. It might be 3rd or 4th. I don't remember. It's been a long time, but it's been over a decade since I've read this at least. I mean, it might be even older than that. I did read it a lot in college, or before college and then after college. But then after that, I didn't read it for a long time. Anyway, so Sense and Sensibility, of course, is Jane Austen's first novel that follows Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood sisters and, their life and stuff. I really, this is not my favorite one, of course, but it is definitely, you can, especially when I've been listening to it, and I haven't listened to it very far. I admit I stopped listening to it a couple of days ago just because I just didn't, because of the holiday stuff, I just didn't put my car, I didn't plug it into my car. I was listening to music. I only got to 67. So, I still have like 9 hours in the audiobook. I mean, I do listen to it at 1.5 speed, but still, it's going to be a while. I'm hoping to try to get a big chunk of it done this week. I don't know if I'll finish it out, but it would be nice. But again, as I said, I like it. I just don't love it. It's not my favorite, but I hear her writing, like I can feel the same things I feel in other books that I like, others that I really love. It's just not my favorite story. So, it's mostly because I cringe at Marianne. I admit it. Marianne talks and I cringe. At least in the beginning. I mean, it's just me. I don't know. It's just me. And then the other book I'm reading for Jane Austen July is Longbourn by Joe Baker. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from the servant's point of view. And overall, I'm really enjoying this. I am on 224 of like 334 or something. So I have 100 pages left of this. Overall, I've really liked this. There's been a couple points where I've cringed or whatever, because that happens. But overall, I really like this, and I'm intrigued to find out what happens, because what just happened before I went to bed last night, I was like, no. Anyway, so, I do like the way it's told and how they're flippant about certain things that the Bennett sisters were, excited about, and they're like, oh, whatever, and they're all just work, they have to do all this work, and it's really well done of showing the other side of that. I do like that part of it, and I do like the main characters. I like one of them more than the other. I like James so much. I just want to cuddle him. Anyway, so I'm hoping to finish this up today. I have 100 pages. Yeah, well, I have to read my pages for Hunchback. So we'll see where I get. But I'm hoping to finish this up today or tomorrow. So, but I'm really enjoying this. And again, this is a book I've heard about a long time and just never got around to it. And I got it at a library book sale a couple years ago after I'd heard about it. And then I'm just going to briefly flash what I think I'm going to read next. If I get done with the Sense and Sensibility audiobook, which I really don't think so, but my next thing is to pick up Jane Austen at Home by Lucia Worsley. I'm probably going to get the audiobook for this. I'm either going to pay for it or get it on overdrive at my library, if I can figure out how that works. I've never actually done that. Like, I tried, I think, once, like a couple of years ago, and I haven't tried it again. So I'm going to try to use overdrive. I think it's checked out right now, but I thought if I got on the list, I would get it by the end of the month. So this might be the next audiobook. I'm not positive. But I do have this as the nonfiction read for Jane Austen July. But I have 3 more coming from the library. I decided to check some other ones out just to see if I want to read those physically or what. I don't know. Library, I'm trying. But I break every once in a while, so there's 3 books I have to go pick up today. So after I finish Longbourn, I will see what my feelings are like. I either want to pick up Lady Susan by Jane Austen. I think I'm only going to read the first of the 3 things in here, at least at first. I'm not going to, because I think Lady Susan is still like 50. Oh no, it's more than that. See, it's pretty good. It's pretty good size, most of this book. So it's like 103 pages. So I might pick up that. I do want to read that as my other things other than Jane Austen's novels to read. So I might do that. Or I might pick up Evelina by Frances Burney. I bought this last year during Jane Austen July, because everybody was talking about it, because I know some people were reading it last year. And again, it's a Episcopal novel and contemporary of Jane Austen. I think it's a woman who goes to London for the season. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, but I want to read this too, so I'm not sure. I might feel like picking that up. Or I might pick up my other retelling, which is Death Comes to Pemberley by P.D. James, which is like after Pride and Prejudice a few years. I can't remember what they said, 6 years. And then somebody dies, I don't know, at Pemberley. We'll see. So I don't know, I might pick up that next. And again, I'm like P.D. James, so... Okay, that's it. I know I talked a lot. I'm rambly this morning. Oh, well, anyway. So, anyway, what are you guys reading? Anything good? I think I have a good start to my month. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to do some tag videos. I've been tagged in like 4 videos, so I need to get some done, for this week and next. So, look for some tag videos for me. Try to get through those so I'm caught up. Anyway, other than that, it should be a long week, so hopefully we'll make it through. So, how are you guys doing? How's your week looking? Let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.